Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, world? Thanks for tuning in again. This is the one and only, the original. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Today's video is called Color Does Matter. I wanted to do this video because I hear a lot of individuals tell me that, hey, color doesn't matter. Color doesn't matter. So I felt that it was necessary to show them how in this world color does matter. Let's get it. Color does matter. The national anthem. When the copper-colored man or woman, now known as black or Negro, refuses to stand for the national anthem, people need to understand that the national anthem was written by a slave owner named Francis Scott Key, who demonized and hated blacks or Negroes. The unspoken of or unheard of third verse in the national anthem promises turmoil for so-called blacks or Negroes to the grave. Part of the third verse says, "No refuge could save the hireling and slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave." Would Jewish people pledge to a German anthem that disrespects Jewish people? Would America ask or make Jewish people pledge to an anthem that disrespects Jewish people? But the copper-colored races, known as the Negro, is looked down upon, frowned upon, even punished for refusing to stand for the national anthem. The NAACP is pushing to get rid of the national anthem. They said the Star Spangled Banner is racist and wants it replaced. It's racist. Chapter President Alice Huffman said it doesn't represent our community. It's anti-black people. The NAACP president says people need to really look at the lyrics. But Huffman says she wants the anthem replaced with an anthem that she says supports values for everyone. Color does matter. Look at the so-called black's condition, the so-called Negro. Not only does the 1828 Webster's Dictionary state the Europeans found the copper-colored races in America, the so-called black or Negro person's skin complexion matches the soil of America and the bark on the trees, which is copper-colored. All the different shades of copper colors you can think of will match the so-called black or Negro person, but the European government refuses to federally recognize that. They will only approve and federally recognize the terminology they created and forced upon us when they conquered us and our ancestors, which is African American, black, colored, Negro, nigger, nigga. Color does matter. There are so many things of great benefit that have been taken and stolen from the so-called black or Negro person. Identity, heritage, culture, land, just to name a few. If some of these things of great benefit mentioned above were ever given back, this could potentially repair the condition of the so-called black or Negro person. Example, just to name a few nations that received some type of beneficial reparations. They paid the Japanese due to the war with Japan. They paid the Jewish people due to the war with the German Nazi. They paid the Native Americans, also paid the Native American with casinos, land, reservations due to the past wars of conflict. Considering everything the copper-colored races, now known as Negro, has done for the land of America, nothing in return. Considering everything the copper-colored races, now known as the Negro, suffered and still suffers from, nothing in return. Color does matter. They bring up the Most High, who was the ultimate perfected human being that showed love to everybody. But at the end of the day, white America has still took portraits and made the Most High Caucasian when the Bible says the Most High was copper colored, which is awful racism, prejudice, and awful hate. Clearly, Revelation's first chapter, the Most High was a beautiful copper-colored brother. Most people in America that are non-black will say color does not matter and try to make you believe that color does not matter. So, does it matter if the European government painted the Most High white when the Most High is clearly not? This is another reason why racism and prejudice still is alive in America. The European government and many non-blacks can't accept the fact that but the Bible says the Most High was copper colored, so they painted pictures of a Caucasian man and turn around and tell you that color does not matter. Blacks should be asking other non-blacks why color matters. They created and painted the false image. Color does matter. What about the tons of black inventors that never had the opportunity to have their inventions patented due to their skin complexion? Now the year 2020 and the world still believes that many of these inventions were invented by Europeans when it's simply not true. Color does matter. The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. The thought of the inferiority of the Negro is drilled into him in almost every class he enters and in almost every book he studies. If he happens to leave school after he masters the fundamentals before he finishes high school or reaches college, he will naturally escape some of this bias and may recover in time to be a service to his people. As another has well said, to handicap a student by teaching him that his black face is a curse and that his struggle to change his condition is hopeless is the worst sort of lynching. It kills one's aspirations and dooms him to vagabondage and crime. When a Negro has finished his education in our schools, then he has been equipped to begin the life of an Americanized or Europeanized white man. Of the hundreds of Negro high schools recently examined by an expert in the United States Bureau of Education, only 18 offer a course taking up the history of the Negro. And in most of the Negro colleges and universities where the Negro is thought of, the race is studied only as a problem or dismissed as of little consequence. The copper-colored races, now known as black, are not put in their historical context. The same educational system and process which inspires and stimulates the oppressor with the thought that he is everything and has accomplished everything worthwhile depresses and crushes at the same time the spark of genius in the Negro by making him feel that his race does not amount to much and never will measure up to the standards of other peoples. The Negro thus educated is a hopeless liability of the race. The difficulty is that the educated Negro is compelled to live and move amongst his own people whom he has been taught to despise. The educated Negro, moreover, is disinclined to take part in Negro business because he has been taught in economics that Negroes cannot operate in this particular sphere. Color does matter. The Forgotten Truth Behind Racism in America, Final Edition by Radine A. America. Anasazi people are the copper-colored races now known as black or Negro. The United States starts the public school education systems for the assimilation of all Anasazi or Negro children into a slave mentality of cultivated workers to serve the United States. All children of the females of America, children of Negro females, are to receive a free education for conditioning that will erase their heritage, ancestry, culture in America, and replace their earth heritage with America with an artificial narrative as his story of the United States. Why is it that blacks are still receiving this mentally enslaving education rather than being put back into their original historical context? And teaching the truth, the evidence. Color does matter. 9/11. My condolence and respect to all victims and family of 9/11, but shouldn't the education system or government encourage everyone to remember 9/11 the same way we should remember Tulsa, Oklahoma, and what happened with the terrorist act against blacks using airplanes? The hundreds, potentially thousands, that were murdered in Tulsa, Oklahoma were copper-colored races now known as black, murdered and slaughtered by terrorists who were Americans also, white supremacists. All races died in September 11, a day we should all remember and respect. But the government doesn't want us to remember the first time it actually happened. White supremacists doing it to black people in Oklahoma using airplanes. The first terrorists were not Arabs, they were right here in America. First airplanes used in a terrorist attack as weapons to attack Americans was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, 1930s. White supremacists got into airplanes and attacked Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, killing thousands of blacks because they were so prosperous and successful. Little to not one person was ever prosecuted for this evil American Holocaust. Color does matter. Tons of copper-colored races now known as Black, fought and died in America's great wars. Some were even great war heroes, never recognized. Without the help of tons of Black people that fought and died in America's great wars, America wouldn't be what it is today. Without all the wealth, land, natural resources, and knowledge that has been obtained and stolen from Black people, America would not be what it is today. Without the European government using Black people as a mass labor machine, America would not be what it is today. Considering all that was given back to Japan, Germany, Jewish, and many more nations due to previous wars, why is it that the copper-colored races, now known as Black, still in 2020 have not even received 40 acres and a mule or any type of support that can repair the condition? Why nothing in return for the pain and suffering? Color does matter. Our fathers' sweat, blood, and tears built this country. Our fathers and our mothers worked day and night, no compensation to build the economy. Why are Blacks still at the bottom of the economic system? Does color matter? Blacks fought in all of America's great wars for freedom, but yet in 2020 still have no freedom, no original identity, heritage, or culture. Does color matter? Why don't Blacks have their own independence if they are the reason why America gained its independence in the first place? Does color matter? Blacks fought in America's great wars with the oppressor, regardless of the oppressor keeping them oppressed after helping win America's great wars. Does color matter? Blacks fought in America's great wars, came home to their own country, and were being treated worse than the prisoners of war from other nations, and still continued fighting in America's great wars to make America what it is today. Does color matter? It's not fair doing for other nations in form of reparations, but ignore the sacrifice and suffering Black people made in this nation to make America what it is and say that Blacks don't deserve it. That is prejudice and racism. Color does matter. Did you know the original Statue of Liberty presented to the U.S. was a statue of a Black woman? There is a lot of history that didn't make it into the history books for our schools. Read, get you a book, and educate yourself. The original Statue of Liberty was a Black woman, copper colored. Again, my question is, why isn't the government or public education system teaching this, telling us about this truth? Why is it being kept? Why is it being oppressed? Well, there's only one reason, and it's because color does matter. Again, thank you everybody. Thank you world for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. This is the one and only, the original. I'm out.